Hi guys, welcome back. Welcome back to Girls Gone Rogue. Today is a special episode because we have our first guest! If you're currently listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please go over to the Girls Gone Rogue YouTube channel and you'll see my dad is here.
Hello.
This is my dad. We think this is going to be really fun. I feel like he's like the perfect first guest.
Absolutely.
Definitely. My dad is kind of the one that like introduced us to Star Wars. Like me and my family, not Jade. Not Jade.
I'm just gonna roll out of here.
But we figured it would like only be fit for him to be our first guest. So today's episode, we've got a few different things planned. We're gonna start with some questions from my dad, and it's gonna be a little bit of a different perspective than ours, because you know we grew up with like the prequels, and that's our thing. He's didn't, so it'll be like an OG fan type of situation. So we're just gonna start with the questions. So the first question we have for you is, what is your very first memory of Star Wars?
So I think my first memory would probably be at Christmas time, and I think it was, I don't remember the exact year, but it was probably 1980. So it was right after Empire Strikes Back came out, and I remember Christmas morning, that morning, coming out and seeing the tree, and I remember my parents had set up the like Hoth battle scene with all of the figures and toys that were out at that time. So I remember there being an AT-AT, like the AT-AT, like set up in front of the Christmas tree. I remember there being like a couple snow speeders, a bunch of figures. And so they had like taken the items like out of the boxes and like set it up in front of the tree with just this scene set up. And my brother, who was a year older than me, and I of course ran out and were like playing with the toys and stuff. I don't remember anything else about Christmas that year except just coming out and seeing those things set up and just being like, oh my god, like this is so cool. Like I don't remember seeing episode 4. I don't remember seeing episode 5 in the movie theater.
Did you though?
Well, I know I saw episode 5 in the theater. I don't remember actually the experience, but just from talking to my parents, I know they took us. And then I do not remember seeing episode 4, but I'm assuming that I saw that, but I just don't remember seeing it.
That's funny.
That'd be like super cool to wake up on Christmas
I know.
morning and just see like the hot battle scene.
I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, I want that now.
Yeah.
Can you set up a battle scene of like episode 3? Like, I would totally. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
That would be fun.
Do you still have some of those toys?
No, and it's definitely like a sore spot with me.
Yeah.
My brother and I had like everything. I still have pictures of like my parents had taken of me. One in particular, I remember in the same house, it was my birthday, probably the next year, and I'm sitting at our kitchen table and I'm holding up like the Slave 1 box, like Boba Fett shit. Like, I had gotten that for my birthday, and so I'm like holding it.
Oh, I think you showed that to me recently.
Yeah, I probably did.
Yeah.
And so I remember specifically when I was like 12 or 13, and now I'm living in California, and my dad asked me like, hey, do you want all of those old, I have G.I. Joe too, G.I. Joe and Star Wars toys that are in the garage, because they're in like a couple big boxes in the garage, and I was like, no, I don't want those, and he gave them away.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I wish I still had those things, because not to play with or anything, but obviously just because the nostalgia factor. And
Totally.
So
Collectibles
cool
or just to have
those things.
original stuff.
Yeah. So.
Because we talk about all the time how like a lot of the Star Wars toys don't go up in price. They kind of stay the same. Do you think that the ones that you had, do you think they would be worth anything now?
Probably not, because of the fact that they were open. Obviously there's somebody that might be like, yeah, I'd want those things.
Yeah.
But not worth a whole lot as much as like something that might have been in the original packaging.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But all of my stuff obviously was opened and played with.
Yeah, well, of course.
when you're like 6 or 7, you don't really care about leaving things in packages.
Yeah.
This cat is like going crazy. Come on.
Just gonna close that again. Okay, cool. So next question. Do you want to ask the next one?
Yeah. What is your favorite movie?
right now, favorite Star Wars movie would be Rogue One. And
Okay.
yeah, people have asked me why, especially because I grew up with the original trilogy and stuff. And there's aspects of every movie that I absolutely like, but Rogue One did such a good job of creating an entirely new story with new characters and bringing in some of the old characters, and they did such a good job that watching it, I was just blown away. I remember first seeing Grand Moff Tarkin, and he's like, and director Krennic's like talking to him from behind, and so you see the back of Tarkin's head, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Tarkin. And then all of a sudden he like turns around, because I was like, there's no way they're going to show his face, because he's dead, of course.
Yeah.
And when he turned around, and I was like, holy cow, that's Peter Cushing, who played Grand Moff Tarkin, and I was like, that looks just like him. So little moments like that brought in so much of the world, but in a completely new story, like bringing in I'm blowing on his name right now. The guy from Clone Wars.
Saw.
Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
So when they brought in Saw Gerrera too, I was like, oh my god, it's Saw Gerrera.
That was really cool.
Yeah. And then of course the ending, when they tied it right into episode 4. I mean, even talking about it now,
cool.
I still get goosebumps from it, because it was just like
the Vader scene.
Yeah, like movie ends, next movie starts. And actually, like, there's so many scenes, like when that private guy comes running up to Mon Mothma, and he's like, there's a battle on Scarif, they're there, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, where's Admiral so-and-so? And all of a sudden they're like, he's gone, he's going to go help. And it's like, boom, rebels appear, and it's like giant battle. And
that is like one of the coolest
I
scenes.
absolutely love that movie. I mean, from the get-go of like the ship landed on the planet to like the Death Troopers, I mean, everything is just so cool about that movie.
Yeah, I like just thought of something. Isn't it in Rogue One where you see the ghost ship and Chopper?
Yeah,
so they tied in Rebels
Yes, they
too.
tied into Rebels as well. Yeah, because you actually see Chopper from Rebels rolling around in the hangar somewhere, and then you see the ghosts in the background. And there's also a scene when they are at the Rebel base, and you hear over the intercom like, General Syndulla, please report to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so just all of those little
cool.
like bringing these pieces of other stories together, I thought was awesome.
So okay, if you were gonna go with just the 9 movies,
What's my favorite of those?
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny too, because when Force Awakens came out, I loved Force Awakens.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It really, I think, rekindled my fandom for Star Wars. But I mean, I always go back to my favorite of all time is probably Empire. And
really?
Yep, and it's so many people's least favorite because it's so slow.
It is.
But there are some like key pivotal moments in that movie that I think are so important. Of course, the Hoth battle scene at the time was like one of the coolest scenes ever. Just the giant walkers and the ships were flying around them, and the battle between the two sides. And so I mean, that was huge. And I know people hate like the Yoda and Luke stuff because it's so slow, but it does so much with like character development, which I think is important. And of course, I mean, Han getting frozen in carbonite, and then the battle between Luke and Darth at the end is so momentous. And I think, that one in terms of just like, it's not all good guys win and rah, rah, rah and stuff. And it's like,
rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
Do you think your memory of Christmas helps that though?
Maybe. It definitely could. But there's like parts of like A New Hope is always good, but it's just, I find that to be one of the slowest movies because
Interesting.
I don't know, like I find the end part to be the most exciting part of that movie. Like watching the little pieces that lead up to it, I'm just kind of like, and maybe it's because I've seen it so many times, but
probably
like Return of the Jedi, like I could never stand the Ewoks. Like the Ewoks to me were like Jar Jar Binks to the prequels.
Oh my god, he's one of those people.
Yeah. So you don't like Ewoks
no,
or Jar Jar?
No. Jar Jar never bothered me as much as everybody else, and I was so excited just for like another Star Wars movie because Episode 1 came out and it was like, man, it had been so long since there had been a Star Wars movie. So
Well, I feel like this is going to lead into our next question because I think I know your answer. What is your least favorite Star Wars movie? Isn't it Episode 1?
No, I would not say Episode 1.
Interesting, because over the summer, me and Jade did a YouTube video where we ranked our Star Wars movies favorite to least favorite, and I went back through the comments the other day. Your least favorite was Phantom Menace.
Oh, really? And when was this? Last summer?
This was during the summer.
This was during quarantine,
Oh, wow. Well, I would definitely change it.
Okay.
There are aspects of Episode 1 that I don't like, and it's probably all to do with the movie making, just the CGI. There was so much CGI, and at the time when it came out, I absolutely loved it. I didn't find it fault with anything. I thought it was great, but after watching it over and over and over again, especially when I watch it now, the CGI is hard to get past for me. It's literally like watching a cartoon almost.
Yeah.
No, I would say my least favorite is probably 8. I just there's
Agreed.
there's just parts of it that just take away from the story or take you to a completely. I thought Force Awakens built up such a great story, and then it was like building, and then Episode 8 just cut it off and like started brand new. And I was like, man, what happened with all these great ideas and stories?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Actually, I saw a clip on TikTok recently of someone making fun of the CGI in Episode 1, and it was the scene with oh my god, what is Jar Jar's
Captain Tarpals?
Is that what they're called?
Oh, the Gungans?
Oh, Gungans. It was like the scene with the Gungans, and it was just like a flat green like land, and the mountains looked fake.
Yeah.
I wish I could pull it up because it just looked so bad.
I'm not surprised. Like, there's so much of that movie that was just CGI, and you watch the behind the scenes stuff, and you see Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson just basically talking at green.
Oh, yeah.
This one?
Like, that scene.
Oh, yeah.
Like, look how fake
right.
that
looks. Honestly, like, some of the new, like, cartoons that are out look better than that.
Like, it just looks so fake.
Yeah. It's too perfect.
Yeah.
And granted, George Lucas had been waiting a long time to be able to make these movies to the point where the technology caught up and he was able to, like, do CGI. However, gosh, if he'd have waited... Well, of course, 20 years more. That would be a hard wait.
Yeah,
but,
oh my god.
Yeah, I secretly hope that someday they go back and fix those movies and make the graphics look better. Because, like, if they took it to the level that there is at now, you wouldn't even know that it was CGI. Like, it's so good now.
I mean, even for me, like, the fight on Mustafar is, like, so awesome. I don't think that looks that bad. But even... if they were to do that now, oh my god.
Yeah. No, definitely the technology improved a lot between 1 and 3, but with 1, it's just, I felt bad for the actors having to do so much without being able to see anything that was happening. Like, you watch them and they're just like acting in scenes and they're just like, yep, I don't know what's happening.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what I'm looking at.
I watch all the behind the scenes on YouTube, which I need to watch with you. Because it's so fun watching the behind the scenes for Episode 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, it's like crazy to see like what they did.
They just kind of stand there.
They just stand there and they're like, even like when they would do scenes with Jar Jar, I know they had that actor playing him, but like they would like look up at a different point and they wouldn't really be looking at him. There's a
couple scenes too where I don't know if they were reshoots or not, and it's both in Episode 1 and Episode 2 where Obi-Wan Kenobi looks a certain way, and then all of a sudden there's a scene and he looks completely different. And I'm like,
I know that scene.
I'm like, what happened? Like, he looks like he put on 10 pounds. He looks like he has a different hairstyle. There's a scene at the very end when the Naboo people are planning with the Gungans, and Obi-Wan Kenobi comes in, and his hair looks different. It's kind of more, it looks longer, and he looks like bigger, and I'm like,
so weird.
I'm like, what happened? And then there's a scene in Attack of the Clones when they're chasing after Zeb, the like assassin who's trying to kill Padme.
Yeah.
And they crash into this like market area or something, and they go into this bar. And all of a sudden, Obi-Wan Kenobi's like, no, we need patience or something. And he looks so, like, his beard looks awful, like they glued it on or something. I'm like, what happened here? Like,
they got lazy.
Yeah, I'm like, all of a sudden, it's a completely different scene. And I'm like, must have been a reshoot and they just didn't get it right or something.
That's so
I don't know.
funny.
Every time I see those scenes, I kind of cringe a little bit. I'm like,
Like,
oh, what happened?
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, the next one. What is your favorite character?
Of like all time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, Han Solo was always kind of my favorite, I think, when I was growing up. But like now, I think it's probably Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I think it has completely to do with the Clone Wars cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, that cartoon does so much for the story, and
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for people that have never watched any of the Clone Wars or the Rebels.
Yeah.
And only for the sake of the story. Like yesterday when we were at Bath and Body Works, and that Cody was talking to that other person, and they were saying like she only likes 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but I think if you only stick to one of the stories, you are missing out on a lot.
Yeah.
And Clone Wars does that. Like, you get to really know those characters really well. And I think that's like what helped the hype for Mandalorian and bringing like Ahsoka in and stuff. And it's like, gosh, Ahsoka has more screen time than, any other character, that there is, just because she was in every season of Clone Wars. She was in Rebels. And it's like, that character so well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think we've mentioned this in another episode, but a lot of people have problems with the cartoon aspect of it. But even like when I watched Clone Wars and I was talking to her and telling her that she needs to watch it, I just remember being like, you have to watch this or Mandalorian won't make sense.
Yeah.
Future projects won't make sense. I'm like, it literally, like, this is gonna sound crazy. I almost prefer I do prefer Clone Wars and Rebels like over watching the movies, which is crazy.
Especially because, first of all, they're short, so you can watch a couple episodes and still enjoy it, as opposed to sitting down to watch a full movie.
Sure, but like
nice.
when I sit down and watch Clone Wars, like if I watch the show, I'm usually watching like a movie length, like
right amount of episodes.
Yeah.
I think for me, like when I think of my favorite Star Wars things, and like I compare it to like what I would get tattooed on me. That's like what I think of. I think of Ahsoka, which is animated thus far.
Right.
I think of Darth Maul from Clone Wars and Rebels. I don't even think
like
episode 1.
Yeah.
I think like Rex, who's only animated, and I'm like, my favorite things are from those shows, which is crazy.
It's because they develop their characters so well.
Yeah.
It's not just some character like Darth Maul in episode 1 has how much screen time? Hardly any.
True.
His longest scene is the battle at the very end, and
I'm so glad they brought him back.
Oh yeah,
oh
he's
my
such
God.
a compelling character.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I mean, here he's, first of all, he's apprenticed to the Dark Lord, and all of a sudden he gets killed, and, once he's alive still, he's kind of like, he's so sort of disenfranchised with the whole thing, because he's like, man, I was this guy, and now I'm nothing.
I was used.
And I'm, totally used.
Yeah.
Well, if Obi-Wan's your favorite, who's your least favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, man, least favorite character? Like, least favorite main character?
Sure.
Honestly, probably General Hux. Like,
No, oh my God, we love him.
So lame.
Oh my God,
He's
what?
so lame. He reminds me of C-3PO from like original trilogy. Like, he is just there for comedic relief. I'm like, really? Like, have some sort of like point to your character.
See, I really liked the scene. I think it was Force Awakens, where he's talking to everyone. They're on
right.
Where are they? They're on
the base.
Starkiller base.
Yeah.
And when he's like, that's I think his best scene, when he's like, this is the day the Empire, like, or whatever it was, First Order.
With you there,
that is like one of the coolest scenes.
Yeah, because you're like, holy cow, where'd this group
come just from? Like his emotion and how angry he was, and like it's like a TikTok thing I see all the time, people posting that scene.
So
I think it's so good.
One of my favorite scenes of him is when him and Poe are communicating.
That's so funny, yeah.
But
it's for the comedic relief.
Yes, right. But again, it's like, oh, he thinks he's on hold, and nobody can hear him. He's just playing with him. So, and they treat Hux kind of like this bumbling kind of buffoon kind of guy.
Yeah.
But he, in episode 7, I think looks like he's going to be this really kind of cool evil guy, and 8 and 9 they just make him to be this sort of idiot guy. And I'm just again, it's where they took this story and they built it up, and then they changed the character so much that I was like, oh, I did like him at first. I was like, yeah, we need some evil people, we need some like bad guys, you know. And then, of course, I also realized he was the guy from Harry Potter, too.
Yeah,
Once I realized that, I was like, oh.
I know, it's so weird.
So,
I think one of my other favorite scenes in The Last Jedi, when, like, Kylo slams him up against the, like, wall in his ship.
Oh,
I think that's one of my... But, of course, it has Adam Driver in it. So, like, I
So-
can't... like, it's Kylo Ren, so I can't...
Yeah.
It's such a good one.
So in 9, when he like announced that he was the spy, were you surprised?
Again, it was like really, can we not just like keep this character as like one type of role?
Oh,
like
okay.
why do all these characters except for maybe Rey, all of the characters from 7 through 9, their roles change constantly, and it's like, how do I know what to expect from this person? And it's like, you don't need to throw all these twists in all the time. Like,
True.
And through the whole Star Wars arc of all of the stories and stuff that are part of, you know, normal canon, you know, there are a couple people that were spies, and those were kind of big moments for those characters. And like, really, is everybody an undercover spy?
Right.
Is everybody on the other side? What's happening here? So I don't know. That one, yeah, I don't like that they changed his character so much, because I liked it. I did like it in 7.
Yeah. Okay, the next question we have is, how has the Star Wars hype changed from when you were a kid to now? Like, how are the fans different? Because one of my favorite videos to watch is the behind the scenes of episode 1, because while they show a lot of the behind the scenes of the making of the movie, they also show so much of the fandom and like waiting in line for like days to get these toys, and like people dressing up all the time. Like, how has it changed?
I would say it's changed by, I think the internet's had a big part of that as well, just because, you know, so Return of the Jedi comes out in 83, Phantom Menace comes out in 99. I mean, 16 years, that was the longest span of time between any two of the movies. And it's crazy to think, like, so I'd seen Return of the Jedi in 83, and then I know in 89, 6 years later, and it's not a long time, but in 89 is when I moved up to Alaska, and I had some friends here that I also found out were Star Wars fans. And prior to that, like when I was going through middle school and some early high school, like, you don't tell anybody you're a Star Wars fan. Like, you would be made fun of. Like,
wow, because was it like too nerdy?
Oh,
like...
absolutely. Like, it was like role-playing games and stuff too. I was a closet nerd for sure. Like, I didn't tell anybody any of that stuff except like my brother and some of our close friends that also played games and stuff. And so it was definitely
it's like Pokemon.
It was definitely something you did not tell anybody, because you would just be made fun of so hard.
Wow.
But when I got to high school and I met some other people that like Star Wars, every year we would have a Star Wars party, and we would get together, and there, I don't know, 10, 15 of us, and we'd just sit around and watch 4, 5, 6. Watch them all the way through. And it was
cool.
And it was really fun, just because, you know, finally I was like, oh, there's other people that like Star Wars. I don't have to hide it. But once it was 94 or 95, when George Lucas announced he was going to start working on episode 1, and he was developing a new trilogy, and the hype just went, pew! I mean, it went crazy. Like, that's really the beginning of the internet as well. But you could start to look up information online. You could look up rumors online. You could see, you'd get pictures and stuff. And I soaked it all in. It was like, I would read anything and everything except the plot. Like, if I saw something that was a plot hole or a plot part, I'd be like, nope, don't want to. You
still do that.
Oh,
You're like, don't tell me.
No, I don't want to know. I want whoever's making these things to be able to, you know, share that experience. Oh man, I get so mad when I see something before actually watching the episode or the movie or whatever. But, so yeah, I would say in 95, the hype got huge. All of a sudden there was like Star Wars magazines. They started re-releasing like all the figures and toys and stuff. There was, I don't remember when they started, but much in the same way as like when the original trilogy came out, and they were like, oh yeah, people would stand in line for days to get tickets and stuff. That started, I mean, there was like people that camped out I don't remember how long in advance, like 6 months, a year maybe, in front of theaters to get tickets first. My brother, I remember my brother went to Century 16 in Midtown, and he got in line there to get us tickets as well. And so he got me my first ticket for episode 1 when it was coming out.
How long did he have to wait? Do you know?
Not very long, honestly, like maybe an hour or two.
Okay.
But there wasn't, I don't think there was Fandango at the time, so you couldn't like buy tickets online, but you could go and get a ticket for like a showing in a week or something.
Yeah, you could just,
yeah,
you had to go in though, yeah.
But I remember showing up for episode 1, like, I think we showed up 2 hours early, and nobody was in line.
Really?
Absolutely nobody. Nope, we got to our first showing, and granted it was a midweek day, but we showed up and we were like expecting there to be huge numbers of people. Nope, nobody there. We went into the lobby. There was nobody there. We walked right up to the doors of the theater and just sat there, and we had to wait like 30-40 minutes just to go in. And but we were the only ones there. But definitely, like now, or sometimes now, you'll show up to these and there are just like lines and lines of people to get in. So
so do you think, I guess,
I don't know why,
since episode 1 came out, do you think the hype is just continuing to grow?
I think it's just different. I think the hype then, it had been so long since there had been a Star Wars movie, and now there's so much. I mean, between the cartoons and the TV shows and the books and everything else now, that it's just a different hype. And it's also obviously still a huge hype.
It's also coming out like right from home.
Oh yeah.
With Disney Plus, you don't have to like constantly go to the movies
right
to see all these things.
Yeah.
True. That's true. Okay, so that talking about episode 1 leads me into the next thing. The first time you went and saw episode 1, is that the time where you brought me?
Yeah. So it was like I said, it was like a midweek day. I want to say it was like a Wednesday or Thursday. I don't remember. And we had tickets to the first showing of the day, which I want to say was at like maybe 9, maybe 10 in the morning. I can't remember. And so we had tickets, and you were like,
I was 2 months old.
Not even 2 months old. And my mom and I are both teachers. We actually took the day off that day from school. And so my mom met me at the theater where we handed you off to her because she was going to take you home and watch you while your mom and I went to the movie.
That's so funny.
We also went with my best friend, one of my best friends from high school, who was also a huge Star Wars fan, and he's the one we would have the little parties with and stuff. So he met us there as well. So the three of us watched the movie together. And I actually had 2 tickets. Like, I went to that episode, and then I watched it immediately after that again. So I watched it twice that day.
I'm just gonna say that I was at the premiere of episode 1. I didn't get to watch it, but I was there.
Yeah, you were in the parking lot for sure.
And then you still have all those movie stubs, right?
Yeah. I saw that first one probably 6 times in the theater, and I kept all the little movie stubs from it.
That's so cool.
It's in a scrapbook. I think I have Attack of the Clones too, but I don't know if I have Revenge of the Sith.
I collected movie stubs for a while, because I used to see movies all the time. Like, I would go to the movies like all the time, and I stopped for some reason, and I think I threw them away because I was like, why am I keeping this? This is so weird. But I think I still have Rise of Skywalker, because we saw it like 8 times.
Oh my gosh.
It was like every Tuesday we were like, all right, like, what time can we go? What time can we go?
That's funny.
Because that was like the discounted
When did that come out?
deal. Rise? It was 2 Decembers ago, so it was 2019.
2019. Okay.
Yep. So crazy.
Wait, it couldn't have been.
Yeah.
No. When did Last Jedi come out then?
The
2 years before that?
Oh, right. I'm thinking Rise was 8 and Last Jedi was 9. I got it backwards.
I gotta start a new recording. Okay, so next question, number 6.
What are some of the coolest things that you've collected?
Well, yeah, so when I was a kid, obviously, like I said, my brother and I had so many of the toys, but we played with them and they were definitely used and abused. But when the episode 1 was being announced as coming out again, and then they started re-releasing all the toys, I was like, I am not going to miss out this time. Like, at that time, some of those old unopened Star Wars figures were worth lots of money.
Okay.
I know a particular one, it was like the Jawa with the vinyl cape was worth like $3,000 if you had it in an unopened package.
Wow.
So in 95, I'm literally turning 21. I just moved into my first apartment. I had no money, and I have a credit card somehow that I was given, and I maxed that thing out over the next couple of years, just because I would constantly buy Star Wars stuff. Anytime it'd be released, I'd go to Toys R Us, because there was a Toys R Us up here. I would go to Walmart. I'd go to Fred Meyer. I was on the internet all the time, on eBay, looking for figures and stuff.
Sounds like us now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that sounds like us now.
I was pretty crazy about it. And my goal was, they would release toys, like generally figures and ships and stuff, and there'd be like a release number on it, like a version number, and sometimes when it would get in the store, it wouldn't be the first version. So my goal was always to find the first version. So I might find it and I'd buy it and I'd be like, oh, this is the second version. And come to find out the first version had like a flaw or a mistake or a misprint or something. And so I'd be like, well, I want the first version because that'll probably be worth more in the end. And
Yeah.
so I would scour eBay and bid on things, get stuff. And so I did. I collected everything up from 95 up through episode 1. And then when Attack of the Clones came out, I just was like, I cannot keep doing this. There's like, they would still continue to go back and re-release like episode 4 Luke, with a different hat or a different pose. I was just like, my God, how many Lukes do I need? And it just got to be too much money and too much tracking of stuff. So I stopped at Attack of the Clones. Like I got a few Attack of the Clones figures and stuff, but I stopped then. But
yeah.
So like some of the special things, I honestly don't think I have anything that's super special. So I grabbed a few from my collection. That is the Darth Vader that came out like in 95. So these are the new releases, prior to like the old collection. But this guy, I mean, if you look at his lightsaber, it's literally as tall as he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is...
He looks really buff.
Yeah. Well, so the original figures that they released in 95, they tried to make them look like super cool, So they're not movie accurate
Here,
at all.
I'll show the camera. Make sure you're watching on YouTube if you want to see this.
Yeah, they're not movie accurate at all. They're like WWF wrestling guys.
Yeah.
They're like so buff. So it's kind of funny. But they released all the guys that had lightsabers with these super long lightsabers, and eventually they're like, the manufacturers are like, that's not accurate. It's way too long. So then they released them with a shorter lightsaber. So I, of course, got all of those as well. But so these were the first ones with these super long lightsabers. So that one's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
This one I really like because it's got a package that was never released. So Star Wars toys, Hasbro, Kenner, any of these companies, they would do like if you get send in 6 proof of purchases, you can send it in and we'll send you this figure. So that's what Han in a Stormtrooper outfit was. You had to, I don't remember if it was cereal boxes or what, but you had to send in so many proof of purchase things, like these things. Yeah. And you'd mail it off, and then they send you the figure. So I did that. So
this never was released?
Well, it was not sold in a store.
Okay.
And the figure itself, the figure's fine. But there was this guy in Canada that I found online who you would send him your figure, and he would actually print this card on just cardstock and, make it look like a real thing. Like an officially made thing, and then send it back to you. So I sent my figure off to this guy in Canada, and he put it in the packaging. He made the blue.
It looks real.
It totally looks real. Yeah.
I never would have imagined that.
I have 3 of these figures. I have Han. There's this Obi-Wan ghost figure. There's one of the band members from the Mos Eisley Cantina, and then there was one more that he did, but I never sent it off to him. So I've got 3 of these in blue packaging.
That's pretty cool.
And then the only one that ever was worth some money, this is the one I spent the most money for, and it was only $50 at the time. But so you can see the shorter saber now.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot shorter. But then he's got a tan vest, which was different, which was the first release, because when they released it again, I think he had a black vest. So this was like a miscolor print of this figure, which is why when it first came out, it was worth a lot of money. But it's funny now that you look at these figures and you can find them anywhere for $5-10.
They've never gone up in any value whatsoever.
Yeah, because I think there's so many people like me that were like, oh, these are going to be worth a lot of money, and just bought all of them and then have never opened them. So if you want one, you can find them. It's not hard.
I remember, like, I don't even know. It was like over the summer, maybe. He showed me all of his figures, and you had like 3 big bins?
I have 6. I have 6 boxes.
Okay.
Of just figures.
Yeah, and it's crazy because they're all very nicely put in there, and they're put in there like so particularly. The way he like pulled them out, he put them in like the same way, like character-wise.
They're put in the boxes by release. So I have them all in order from the moment they were released, so that
nerd. I'm just kidding.
No, for sure. Yeah,
it was really cool though.
Super nerdy.
It was cool to see the misprints on a lot of them because they're pretty funny.
But then, just in terms of kind of cool things that were ever released, like I think this thing was super cool. Obviously, it's episode 1, and it's like I don't even know. It's a Famba. Like I didn't even know that thing was called. But it was like it created the shield around the Gungans when they were fighting the droid army, and it was just this giant. It's this just giant toy, and I was like, man, that thing's cool. Like,
so how much do you think you paid for that? Did you just get it at the store?
This thing here was I wonder if it's got a price tag on it. Yeah, I bought this at like Toys R Us, I think.
Rest in peace, Toys R Us.
Yeah.
I wish you were still around.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I do really like the packaging because it's got.
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
I mean,
that's like how they all were, right?
All the episode 1 stuff had Darth Maul on it. Yeah. No, and there's no picture or there's no price
tag. Let me look it up. Let me see if I can find.
Yeah, Famba with shield generator and
Star
Gungan
Wars
Warrior.
episode 1, Famba
with shield generator.
Sorry if you can hear me typing on the podcast.
But yeah, so there's a few of these. Like there's that. There's a Bantha with a Tusken Raider on it that I have. That's super cool. I've got the Rancor from Return of the Jedi. I mean, and they're in these giant packages. I bought the Millennium Falcon again when it came out. I bought an AT-AT when it came out. So all this stuff's still in the garage, unopened and stuff. And
people are selling this
super cool.
for upwards of $200, but like $130-ish.
Yeah, which is definitely more than I bought it for.
It's probably like $50 maybe. I don't know. Now I feel like that'd be
about right.
70.
I probably got it for like $50 or $60.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just thought it was super cool because it's so big and just so random. Like,
yeah.
I mean, people are like, oh yeah, I want to recreate the like Gungan droid army battle or something, and they might buy several of these and like.
Yeah, right. So what is the most expensive thing that you have collected? Or like, do you know what the most expensive thing you bought
I mean, honestly, I was never really big into like memorabilia in the sense of like, oh, I want a signed picture or something like that. Like my Darth Vader lightsaber was probably $130 or something. So
you never went like too crazy?
No, I never did. I mean, I think buying all of this stuff is probably a little crazy.
True.
But, the Lego Death Star that I got for Jade.
Oh, that's like $500, right?
I think when I got it, it was like $300.
Now it's $500.
Yeah. And that was super cool. Like,
I want that so bad.
I liked that way more than Gabe did, I think.
Have you seen the really, really big Star Destroyer Lego? It's like nearly $1,000, but it's like this big.
Massive.
I think I've seen the box for it,
I want to get it and build it, but like, where would I put it?
Right.
I would need like
a room just for that.
Exactly. I'm like, I would need somewhere to display this.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Well, like I said, make a coffee table and put it inside the coffee table.
That's what a lot of people do.
And there was like a glass.
I've seen that.
Like a glass case. Yeah.
In fact, I want to say there was a guy who, if you gave him the dimensions, would send you the Legos where you could build. It would be a Lego like base. And then he sends you the glass panels to put in the base, and then another Lego top with a glass top as well. So you actually have like a Lego table with the Lego thing inside, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Have you also seen, I know like we've sent each other a few of them, there's those TikToks where someone has like an entire Lego room and they're just shelves and shelves, and so you could do like you have to get like a massive shelf.
Like
put it on the ground
almost.
Right. No, there's definitely some people that have got some pretty impressive collections.
Okay, next question. This one's fun.
They're all fun.
Well, I'm glad you think they're fun.
Yeah.
This one's fun. We want to know what your reaction was to season finale of Mando. Because, I mean, even just us, I know we had meltdowns. So, what was your reaction to it?
I had mixed feelings. One, obviously, we knew coming up to that episode, there had to be a Jedi that was coming.
It was
so
like, who was it going to be?
So everybody was like, who's the Jedi that's going to come? It had to be either Ahsoka coming back, had to be Luke.
It could have been Cal or Ezra.
Could have been Cal or Ezra, but for the last episode of a season,
right.
I think it'd be hard to just like throw in some random character that, unless you've seen Rebels, you'd be like, who is this person?
Could have been Mace.
Yeah, I was
right,
like, it could have been Windu.
Yeah, the Mace Windu believers out there.
Yeah.
I thought it could have been him. So, of course, when I saw the X-Wing, I was like, oh, it's Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just real mixed feelings. One, obviously Luke is like Luke, so somebody that a character I grew up with, so never having gotten to see him actually like kick butt in any way, I was kind of, I didn't know how to feel about that. So I was just like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then the CGI of Luke really bothered me. Like, I was just like, first of all, he looks like he's 15 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he looks too young. I was like, they needed to make him look a little older. Why does he look like he walked off the set of Return of the Jedi and into this thing?
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't grown. He doesn't have any facial hair. His hair's still the same way.
I didn't like the CGI of his mouth.
Yeah.
Like, it would barely move.
And those are silly things to nitpick on, but as you're watching it, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So,
do you think that they should have just, I mean, I think it's really cool that Mark Hamill got to do that.
Right.
But do you think they should have just like used like Sebastian Stan?
Well, I mean, I think it would have looked a lot better with a actor, not just CGI'd his face or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely having somebody who like could talk more, because that was it too. Like, his talking was very forced almost.
Yeah,
like,
and it was very weird dialogue.
Yeah, right. Like, why didn't anybody ask any questions
who he was?
or anything? Like, just this Jedi shows up and he just like, all right, here you go.
Yeah, and then what does he say? Like, oh, he doesn't want to go with you,
right.
And he's like,
he's waiting for permission. Or
yeah,
something.
and then there was like something else he said. It was just like weird dialogue.
It was, and his lips didn't move very much. Yeah, it was just like, well, what's happening?
So besides, like, apart from like the CGI aspect, just the concept of Luke, because I feel like everyone loved that.
Yeah, no, I have mixed feelings about it. Like, I thought it was cool to have him be there, but at the same time, I don't know. I liked Mandalorian for not bringing in too much of like the main story. So in fact I saw something today. It was like a poll on Instagram or something that was like, do you want to see Luke train Grogu? And I said no. I said no, I don't.
Not in Mando.
Not even anywhere. Like, Grogu was awesome. If Grogu's going to be a part of the story, bring him in with Ahsoka or something, or some other Jedi or something. But that's like let Mando have his story.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very curious about where it's going to go from here, but I don't know.
Yeah, we've done a lot of episodes talking about that. Yeah. About what we hope will come out of the next season of Mando, and we hope it's just purely focused on his history and reclaiming Mandalore and stuff with the Darksaber, and like nothing to do with Grogu.
Right, yeah. Really, like, no Jedi of anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd like there to be no Jedis in it, because you get to see this whole different side of the Star Wars universe, which I think is, one of the things I liked so much, again, about Rogue One. It wasn't just about Jedis.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lot more than Jedi in these stories.
And I like the fact that Bo-Katan's there too.
Right. Obviously,
she
pulling
fits
in other characters.
She fits into that story pretty well, and I feel like now especially.
Would you have wanted a different Jedi than Luke?
Personally, probably.
Who would you have wanted?
Well, I mean, who else is there, right?
Would you have wanted Ahsoka to come back?
No.
It wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't make sense at all. So not her. I don't know, and just maybe, I don't know.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Because like you said, you can't bring in a character just like so randomly.
Not for the last like 30 seconds of a show.
Yeah.
It had to have been somebody that was familiar. No, maybe just I think it would have been better if he'd have stayed there for maybe a few minutes more, just talked a little bit more, maybe said like who he was or what the purpose was, like what he's doing, like, hey, I've got a Jedi school on another planet and I've got a few kids there that I'm trying to train, build in some of the story that's been established already, not just, hey, this guy's gonna come with me. All right, see you later. We're leaving.
What I think I told both of them this. What I wish would happened dialogue-wise in that scene is I wish he would have introduced himself.
Right.
Because then Bo-Katan would have been like,
Wait,
Skywalker.
Yeah.
I knew Anakin Skywalker and be like, oh my god, that was my dad, and that
who
would have
knows?
been so crazy.
That may come out.
I think that's gonna happen eventually.
When they might be like, hey, who was that guy?
Or even with this is actually gonna lead into like the next topic, but I think that it could happen in the Ahsoka show.
Yeah.
Where she meets Luke maybe,
Right.
and then they exchange, and she's like, holy crap,
Right.
like.
I
Yeah.
could tell you some stories.
Yeah, seriously. So are you excited for all the new projects that are coming out? And like, which one are you most excited for?
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I mean, as being my kind of favorite character of all time. Yeah, no. And Ewan McGregor has like taken that mantle, so well. And I mean, he has taken the Obi-Wan character and made him his for sure. Like, I think a lot of people were curious about what it would be like, but he has done such a good job.
Yeah.
I am so excited about that show.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited about Ahsoka too, but I'm probably more excited about Obi-Wan.
So, we have already talked about in previous episode
a lot
about the stuff and the Obi-Wan show itself.
Yeah.
So to wrap this episode up, we thought it'd be fun to talk about the Ahsoka show and what we want to see from her show. Do you want to throw some out there, or do you want us to read what we've got?
Well, I am super excited about the prospect of her going after Thrawn.
Yeah.
Because again, like, Thrawn is one of these characters that has been around for a long time. I mean, he came 92, I think, is when Timothy Zahn wrote Heir to the Empire. Maybe 91, 90, I can't remember.
All
exactly.
I know is it was on cassette tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because that's our audiobook.
Yeah,
Is
like,
that how you have it? Is on cassette?
No, we have it on,
It's on a flash
It's on a
drive.
flash
but
drive.
Someone recorded it like off
of the cassette?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that's
it's crazy
awesome.
because at the end of each audio thing, it's like, turn the
the
cassette
side, yeah.
over
That's
to
funny.
side B. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Now I'm
Yeah.
listening to it on Audible, so it's not as
Okay.
weird.
That's
But
funny.
it was weird at first. I was like, okay, this is old.
That's super funny. Yeah, so Thrawn is like this compelling character that just like
Iconic.
extremely, and he's so different from the sort of normal like Imperial like bad guy that there is, because it's hard to throw him in with Imperial bad guy because he really doesn't always subscribe to that, and especially if you read the Thrawn book, which have you read?
I've only read Heir to the Empire, and I have 5 hours left of Dark Force Rising.
So the Thrawn book, though,
the one that you got me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is fantastic because it goes into like where he actually comes from, and like it's his whole backstory. And if they're taking that as canon for like what's coming up, hopefully in the Ahsoka show, then I think it just lends itself to such a cool character. And so that's what I'm hoping to see, is like her, going after Thrawn, bringing in some of these aspects of the universe, but really it's that I see as like the Jedi show. It's like, all right, here's your continuation of Jedi. Let's have our Mando show without Jedi. Let's have our Andor series of like, the rebellion and kind of the dirty side of the rebellion. And I think there's these other shows out there, the Boba Fett show that's going to be super cool. We get to see all of these different stories that are in there, but everybody loves their Jedi, so I think that's why the Ahsoka show will be great. And I'm hoping there's going to be like, it'd be cool if they do like flashbacks and stuff.
I think I wrote down that it'd be so cool to see a live action seeing her saber stuff. So like in her book, which a lot of people don't read, you see how she gets her white sabers, and seeing like a live action version of that would be so cool. Even Clone Wars live action flashbacks. But like the two things that I really want to happen, I mean, like aside from like just seeing her in general, I think a Force Ghost reunite moment would be just like so crazy. And then I think it'd be really cool for her to meet Luke and Leia. I think that'd be really cool, but who knows if they'll do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be hard.
And again, those are some of those things that I have mixed feelings about, because it's like, I think it'd be cool, but at the same time, I'm like, feels like those are things that are thrown out just for fans.
Well,
I know, but sometimes it's like, let's try to stick to the story. I'm more into a compelling story than just like putting a little thing in an episode for fans to be like, oh, that's the blank and blank.
Yeah.
Which is funny because there was Mandalorian scene or a behind the scenes thing, or actually it was one of the whole like episodes when they go into that like secret research facility, and there's this troop carrier, and actually the troop carrier was in the end of season 1 as well. And when Star Wars: A New Hope came out and all the toys were released, there was this troop carrier thing toy, and it was like, where is this thing from? Like, it was not in any movie, never mentioned or anything, but they had made the toy for this thing, and people, I think, didn't know what to do with it. And then, so the creators of Mandalorian were like, hey, remember that toy? Let's bring that toy and make it an actual ship in the show.
Oh,
And so
that's
they
cool.
did that. So things like that, I think, are okay, because it's obscure enough that it's not, everybody's not like, oh, there's that. But
they're giving something else sort of a story or
right,
a purpose.
right.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I have written down is seeing more stuff with the World Between Worlds. But we'll see what they do with that, if they do anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just
'Cause that's-
excited for all of it.
Yeah, that was, I mean, did Ahsoka ever have anything to do with that?
The World Between Worlds? Isn't that the stuff in Rebels?
Yeah.
Where Ezra pulled
only,
her out?
Yeah. Oh, was she in? Oh, okay.
Remember he pulled her
'Cause
out?
I thought only
Yeah.
that was only Ezra's thing.
No, and
Okay.
then they were like running through it, and like they went their
Okay.
separate ways.
I'll have to watch that again. I don't remember that episode.
He jumped back out with where like Sabine they were, and then she jumped out where the Sith temple where
Okay.
Vader had destroyed.
Okay.
it.
I'll have to watch that again.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rebels is like the best show.
I'm the one who told you about it.
I know, but still, I'm pretty educated on the fact.
Yeah.
But that's kind of all we have for this episode. I don't know, do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't think so.
Not really?
No, that was pretty fun.
If you like seeing my dad, he's going to be in another episode this week. So, in like probably 2 days.
Probably, because that's our theme.
That's our
around
theme
here.
is every 2 days. Definitely tune into the YouTube channel. It's just going to be on YouTube. It's not going to be on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything like that. But if you want to watch us do some trivia, like Star Wars trivia, definitely subscribe to the channel to see
Watch
that.
us get roasted.
Yeah,
let
let us get roasted, and we're gonna look like fake fans. But yeah, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and subscribe to the, or no, I get confused.
Follow the Instagram.
Follow the Instagram. It's just Girls Gone Rogue on Instagram, and then our personal ones.
Well, Girls Gone Rogue has 2 E's on Instagram, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's too
All
much to keep track of. There's
My
too
Instagram,
much.
Jade Girl with 2 E's.
And then mine's It's Bella Rose with 2 E's and Rose.
We're really on this 2 trend.
I know, seriously. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time with a brand new episode.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.